Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, a.k.a. Mazuma TV, man. Back at y'all with some more boxing talk. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive day. I'm just chilling, man, just enjoying the beautiful view over on this beautiful day in Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? On the road to 3K, we well into the 2100 mark. Shout out to the nation and the mob for making this possible. All right, y'all, besides exactly what's been going on with, Terrence Crawford and Israel MarkMazuma fighting in that card coming up, man, I feel like the boxing world has been pretty slow. You know what I mean? I feel like I've been, tackling every topic there is to tackle that's relevant in the sport of boxing right now. But what I want to get into is the whole current situation that's going on between Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson, if there's even a situation. Now, obviously, both of these guys, are both looking for their next fights. Gervonta Davis just came off of a spectacular knockout against Frank Martin. You know what I'm saying? And since then, he's been looking for an opponent to fight at the end of the year. Initially, it was supposed to be Vasyl Lomachenko, but he pulled out of the negotiations. Just said he wasn't in the mood. You know what I'm saying? Shakur Stevenson, on the other hand, he just came out victorious against Artem Harutyunyan. And since then, he's been a promotional free agent. And, besides looking for an opponent, I think that what he's looking for first is somebody to do some type of business with. You see what I mean? So, both of these guys got their situations going on, but what they do have in common is that they're both available for a fight later on this year, right? So we've been calling for that fight nonstop. The hardcore boxing fans, even the casual boxing fans, in all honesty, have been requesting this fight because it's obvious at this point in time that they're the best lightweights in the division right now. Shakur Stevenson, who's the WBC lightweight champion of the world, and Gervonta Davis, who's a WBA lightweight champion of the world. Both of these guys have amazing talent. In my opinion, they're both special fighters in their own ways, and I would love to see the matchup between the two. Both of these guys are at their peak. They're both in their prime. And, there's no better time than now, in my honest opinion, man. I told you guys over and over again, I'm not a fan of marinating, you know what I mean? Because there's been a lot of times where we waited for fights just under the assumption that the fights are going to happen, and then it ends up not happening. You see what I mean? Because, somebody ends up falling off, or somebody just, is no longer the same, and they end up retiring. You know what I'm saying? Like Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder. That's like the most famous example, you know what I'm saying, that I could come up with at this point in time. You know what I'm saying? But regardless, what I want to speak on exactly is why, Gervonta Davis is so quiet as of right now. You know what I'm saying? And this has been one of my biggest criticisms of Gervonta Davis. I love Gervonta Davis. I think he's a hell of a fighter. I think that he has a great chance of beating Shakur Stevenson. I think that, he's only 1 or 2 wins away from really becoming like, hands down the best fighter in or around his division. You know what I'm saying? There's just a few people out here that we just need to see him against, and if he's able to come out on top against either one of them dudes or both of them dudes, whatever, I think he's the best fighter in or around his weight division. You know what I'm saying? That's just my personal opinion. 135 to 140. If he beats the guys like, Shakur Stevenson, he beats the Cepedas, he beats even the Devin Haney's who's still around. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely crowning him as one of the best, and he's going to be at the top. He's going to be one of the top guys on my pound for pound list. You know what I'm saying? However, it seems like Gervonta Davis is only vocal when he has an opponent that's not one of those top guys. You know what I'm saying? He always comes out, when he was in the lead up to the Frank Martin fight, he running down on Devin Haney, talking crazy to him. Then he's saying things about Shakur Stevenson. He's running his mouth. He's being all, vocal, and he should be. You know what I'm saying? You definitely should be vocal. You definitely want to stir up the pot to get some attention around your name. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's part of promoting yourself. That's part of you, promoting yourself as a fighter, as a brand, just keeping yourself relevant in the media. You know what I'm saying? But what bothers me is that, after he finishes a fight, he goes incognito. You know what I mean? You don't hear from Tank. You might hear some things here and there. You'll hear from his team a whole lot. But, in terms of like him as the individual, you don't really hear much from him. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden he comes out with an opponent we don't want. You know what I'm saying? Just speaking about the past, we'll demand fights. We demanded the Haney fight. We demanded the Shakur fights even back then. And then he'll pop up with a whole new opponent that we don't really care to see. You see what I'm saying? So I just want to know exactly what the status is with Gervonta Davis. What exactly is he going to do? You know what I'm saying? It didn't seem like his team was really optimistic about it. And then when I posted about it, you know what I mean? They was like, oh, well, he's not in charge of his business. Oh, he's not the one. They're just his trainers. They're not, even though I really acknowledged that already in my previous videos, there was people that was coming at me sideways like Gervonta's team can't speak up for him. you know what I mean, from a business aspect. And okay, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely cool. But, you know, when Gervonta Davis is out here, you know, being silent and he's not saying anything and he's pretty much condoning whatever his team is saying, what the fuck am I supposed to believe? I gotta put out the information that I'm receiving. And if Gervonta Davis is being completely quiet, you know, tight-lipped, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and his team is out here speaking as if they don't really care for the Shakur Stevenson fight, or, you know, it's all about the money, and, you know, like pretty much saying that black versus black fighters don't really sell. They doing everything in their power to try to tear down the Shakur Stevenson fight. What the fuck am I supposed to say? You know what I'm saying? I just speak about what is reported. I speak about what the fuck is in the news. You see what I mean? So, you know, and this is another thing too that I've also seen in the comments, and, you know, people just speaking on social media, and this is absolutely something that could be teared down with the quickness. And what I'm speaking about is, you know what I'm saying, he's just doing what his team advises him, speaking on terms of his, you know, his business team and shit like that. It's like they don't want Gervonta Davis to be accountable for his own career and the choices that he makes or the moves that he makes in his career, as if he has absolutely no say. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he's hiring them to do his business, so, you know, let's just let them do their jobs. Let them do. Bro, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, we really gotta come better than that, man. I was just watching a Terrence Crawford interview with Andre Ward, and Andre Ward brought up a great point. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these business advisors, you know what I mean? They come out here and they want to feel justified in what they get, and they 10 to 15%. So they try to take over these fighters' careers and make it seem like they're the bosses, but in reality, the fighters are the bosses. And the Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford fight was a prime example of that. Terrence Crawford told you in that interview that Al Heyman didn't, you know, he was lowballing Terrence Crawford. You know what I mean? They felt like they could have got more out of Terrence Crawford, you know, and they wasn't really too enthused about making that fight happen because PBC, Al Heyman, they wanted Errol Spence to face Keith Thurman. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want to face Terrence Crawford. They thought he was being too hard on negotiations and that he was, you know, overpricing himself or whatever. But what did Errol Spence do? He went against his advisors. He went against his business team and made the fucking fight happen anyway. And if that's not a core example of showing that the fighter has the ultimate say at the end of the day, I don't really know what else to say. There's another example, Canelo Alvarez. You know what I mean? When he faced Erislandy Lara. Erislandy Lara went up to his press conference and called him out in front of everybody. Canelo Alvarez felt hurt. He felt attacked. You know, his pride was hurt. So even though Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy, didn't want him to take that fight against Erislandy Lara, he was hell-bent on facing Erislandy Lara and made Oscar De La Hoya make that fight happen. You know what I'm saying? The fighters have the say at the end of the day. So I say all of that, and I provided those examples to say that if Gervonta Davis really wanted this fight with Shakur Stevenson next, then there's nobody that should be stopping him and making this choice. You know what I'm saying? If Gervonta Davis falls back and be like, yo, listen, man, I don't want any other fight right now. Y'all need to make that Shakur Stevenson fight. If y'all don't make it happen, I'm not fighting. You know what I'm saying? If he stays headstrong on his stance, he stands on his business, whatever the hell you want to call it, stand 10 toes, you know, they're gonna be put in a position where they're gonna have no choice but to, you know, settle and make that fight happen with Shakur Stevenson. So it really like raises the question on whether Gervonta Davis really wants this fight or not, man. His actions show you that, you know, he don't really care about who he really fights next. And that's really concerning to me as a boxing fan, because if I'm sitting here demanding a fight, and, you know, the business people behind the scenes are like, yo, Gervonta, I mean, fuck what they talking about. You just want to fight this dude. And he say, okay, that lets me know that he don't give a fuck about what the fans think. He's going to move however he wants to move, kind of similar to, you know, Canelo Alvarez and how the way he's moving. And if Gervonta Davis is going to adopt that same philosophy as, you know, Canelo Alvarez, then of course I'm going to be having negative criticisms of him. And not only that, I'm not going to be supporting his fights anymore. If you don't give me the fights that I want, are you acting like, you know, you don't have to cater to fans' needs and, you know, stuff like that, even though we're the ones who's, you know, making sure, you know what I mean, these tickets are being bought. We're the ones that's paying for these pay-per-views. If you want to act like we don't play a factor in how the way, you know, you go about your career, then we won't be supporting, point blank, period. Well, I can't even say we. You know what I'm saying? I'm just speaking on myself. But regardless, man, I don't like how the way Gervonta Davis is being quiet, you know what I'm saying, when he should be letting the people know, you know, that he wants the Shakur Stevenson fight and that he's working to make the Shakur Stevenson fight. Maybe they making the fight happen in silence behind the scenes. Who fucking knows? But regardless, you know, I'm hearing multiple reports that, you know, he's juggling options between William Cepeda and the Isaac Cruz rematch. Or Isaac Cruz talking about that he's going to be available at the end of the year. He's really interested in that Gervonta Davis fight. So we'll see what happens. But, you know, Gervonta Davis being incognito, it's a constant pattern, man. You know, you talk crazy in the lead up to fights, talking about how you want to smoke with this person and that person, and you got this 6 or 7 fight deal, and you'll fight all of them. And then whenever you don't got an opponent locked in, all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, you don't got nothing to say to nobody, and you just playing it real nice and solid. I'm not a fan of that, man. So Gervonta Davis really is the boss that he claims to be, you know what I'm saying? And he's out here making and he has the ultimate say. Then look no further than Shakur Stevenson, man, and force these handlers to make these fights happen, man. Because if not, it just seems like, you know what I mean, you just like Tim Bradley, you a motherfucking what's that shit? What's that shit called? Like, you a worker, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you a company man. You feel what I'm saying? So y'all let me know what y'all think about this, man. Let me know what y'all think about Gervonta Davis, and you know, what are you interpreting his silence for being? You know what I'm saying? Is he gonna make the Shakur Stevenson fight happen next? Y'all let me know in the comments below. This is Mazuma TV. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm out of here, man. Peace.